Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of The Next Level. I am one of your co-hosts, Chris Vaglio, CEO of Rocket Growth Agency and Business Development Executive with Urban Creative. And over here, to this way, or to that way, whichever way you're pointing here, is my awesome co-host,
Dr. David Kunick, CEO of UCS Advisors, Investor Relations. We are investor relations and networking experts, helping you get the money that you need for your company and also working on your networking skills as well too. And Chris, I'm really excited for today's show.
I am super excited. Yeah, this is going to be a great show. We have an awesome guest coming to our virtual studio today, Wendy Campbell from NJ Unpacked. So we're going to be talking with her in just a little bit. But before we do, just want to remind you all that one of the reasons why we have been doing these shows is that we want to just let everybody know about our in-person workshop happening at NECANN Boston on March 19th, starting at 9 a.m. And this is going to be called, as it was called in September, because this is the second time we're doing this, it's called How to Raise Your Social Capital to Raise Capital. And once again, we'll be doing that on March 19th at 9 a.m. And you can get your tickets right now by heading over to NECANNNextLevel.com. And Dr. Dave is going to tell you what you're going to learn in this workshop.
So what you're going to learn at this workshop, and don't worry, this workshop ends before the keynote speaker, Steve D'Angelo of the Last Prisoner Project at 12 p.m. on Saturday. So there's no excuse why you can't come to the seminar. Exactly. But at this seminar, you're going to learn some green nuggets of information. You're going to learn how to network properly. You're going to learn how to work the trade show floor to attract investors to your company. You're actually going to figure out how you in your own network of people probably have at least a handful that want to give you money for your business and for your project. But we're going to be covering so much more than that. But that's all I'm going to tell you for right now. That's March 19th from 9 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. before the keynote speaker, Steve D'Angelo. Get your ticket now. And the one thing I'm going to tell you is this. Yeah. What Chris charges per hour and what I charge per hour is a whole lot more than what you're paying for a ticket. And you got us for 3 whole hours.
That's right.
You know what? It is a great return on investment for your time and even more so for your money.
Absolutely. So we hope that you can all come out and join us, as Dr. Dave said, on March 19th at 9 a.m. at NECANN Boston. And make sure you get your tickets for the whole event as well, because it starts on March 18th and runs through the 20th. So it's definitely going to be an amazing time, and we hope to see you there in person. Now, without any further ado, let's get to our interview with Wendy Campbell from NJ Unpacked. Today, we are so excited to have in the virtual studio, Wendy Campbell. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on today and hanging out with Dr. Dave and I.
Oh, I'm so honored to be here. It's a pleasure to get to see you and meet you, Chris, and see you again, Dr. David. So thanks for having me.
And so you know what I'm really excited about today for today's show is that Wendy is with NJ Unpacked. And Wendy has a plethora of cannabis conference experience. And I want to make sure Wendy went on today's show because this is her first NECANN Boston event she's attending. But before we get into that, Wendy, tell us about NJ Unpacked.
Oh, yes. I love talking about trade shows, and my favorite happens to be NJ Unpacked for a reason. First and only national event in the cannabis industry designed exclusively for cannabis THC, consumer packaged good brands, retailers, verticals, distributor, delivery, and accredited investors. And there's a lot of differentiators around us. There's no other national event bringing that group of community people together. We also qualify our audience. So in order to attend, you have to be a manager or above in one of those categories. And our Las Vegas event last year, 50% of our attendees were C-level executives. So no tire kickers. I actually picked up the saying, not Cannabis 101, but more like Cannabis PhD and beyond. So just really exclusive executive quality conversations. And the best stuff happens at trade shows. That's how I met Dr. David.
Always does.
True story. True story.
Absolutely. No, it's great. And, once again, it's so great to have you on and get your perspective on everything that's going on. And, especially when it comes to networking and building relationships, as you just said, it's so key. And to be able to get back out and, we're all meeting in person again, which is awesome. And having these opportunities to grow these relationships is really wonderful. And, case in point, you get to meet Dr. Dave.
I know.
And this is where I wore this t-shirt today for you, because I know you were clutch I do not have a Miss Clutch or a Mrs. Clutch. All I have is a Mr. Clutch. So I apologize, Wendy, to you about that. But
It's all good.
you are clutch at so many things. And make sure if you go to NECANN Boston, if you see this beautiful woman with her hair that's on point today walking around, make sure you introduce yourself. Make sure you say hello. But let's talk about why Wendy Campbell of MJ Unpacked is going to NECANN Boston. Why are you going to NECANN Boston? What are you hoping to get out of it?
So, community number one, our industry, I love that it's as we're growing and growing, and stats that show we're growing with the number of people working in the industry, we still feel like this tiny little community. So number one, just to be a part of the community, grow my relationships, get to see old friends and make new ones and conduct business. But two, I'm on the West Coast. And so I've lived on the West Coast for 20 years and I love the energy. I've been to a couple different events on the East Coast lately, and I love the industry in the energy and the conversation.
Right.
Because it's way new school versus kind of the old school West Coast conversation. So the energy and the excitement and the knowledge soaking that people want to do when you're talking to them. And it's also very inspirational, right? Like they're just getting in and they're applying for their licenses, their first year, they're launching their products, they're developing their packaging and then they're following and they're excited to share it. And it's like, they don't even know what's ahead yet, right? You can't even envision it. But the energy is incredible. And then, also to be honest, to promote MJ Unpacked, we're going to be in New York, May 18th, 19th, and 20th for like 11 weeks away. So anybody at NECANN should really consider being a part of MJ Unpacked. And then we'll be back in Las Vegas in September. So, bring those East Coasters with us to Las Vegas. So all kinds of great things.
Awesome. And so with that being said, you mentioned the West Coast versus the East Coast. One of my favorite questions to ask our guest is, what is the difference? Why don't you take a step back? Okay. Because you do a lot on the West Coast.
Energy of newness, the hope and the vision and the level of excitement for the unknown, right? No matter how many times you've done it or been there, cannabis, as we were talking about earlier, is different and unique. And it's very old skills from previous industries are applicable to cannabis, but there's no game as hard as cannabis, right? Like being in the industry and building your business from the ground up. Where on the West Coast, people, they've been in it. Like you speak to businesses owners out of Colorado and they're like, where's my exit strategy, right? So, there's still that hope, but the energy is more realistic on the West Coast. So we all need a little bit of a pickup. And I think the East Coast is providing that pickup right now. Like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Let's go. Here we go.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun and energy. Yeah.
Very, very good. Now, as someone who runs conferences and runs events and attends them, in your opinion, what are maybe like one or two tips you could give our viewers before attending a conference that they should maybe do?
Yes, that's a great one, right? You want to maximize your time and you lose track of time when you're at an event, particularly in cannabis, right? We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So execute your vision before you even get there. Are you able to schedule meetings? MJ Unpacked, we have a platform for all of our exhibitors and our attendees where they can pre-populate meetings on a schedule to meet at the event. So maximize your time, schedule as many meetings in advance as you can, and then attend those meetings. Show up, be present, and know what conversations you want to execute and how you want to connect and what your collaboration and where you want to walk away from. Know going in what you need at the end of the event.
And let's talk about conversations for a second. And Chris, we're giving our seminar on March 19th, 9 a.m. How to raise your social capital, raise capital. It's something that Chris and I talk about is, think about your conversation you want to have ahead of time.
Yes.
Really plan. And like Dr. David's green nugget is failure to plan is planning to fail.
Yeah.
And it's something that we talk about at our seminar, which you can attend on March 19th. This Saturday, I know Chris will put some. Oh, it's already on the bottom.
There it is.
NECANNnextlevel.com.
I love it.
Where you really want to, really plan ahead of time. And Wendy, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, there's so many different type of consumers out there, companies, ancillary services where, you can't do it all. You can't see it all. But, you know, every conference in NECANN does this. They tell you who's exhibiting.
Yeah.
You know, do your homework ahead of time. Do your recon work.
Don't show up just thinking you're going to talk to everybody,
Yeah.
because you're not going to be able to. So pre-plan it. Certainly look at that exhibitor list, reach out to them in advance, know their booth number, depending on the size of the show, and reach out beforehand and set up some meetings, make it happen.
So for NECANN Boston, for you, Wendy, are you more looking forward to talking with the growers, dispensary owners, ancillary services, maybe some new shot ski or something like that? Who are you looking forward to when you're doing your recon work?
Well, you know, I do want to say that there's room for everybody at the table in the cannabis industry. And our CEO, Jage, has been producing trade show events for the better part of 30 years, and specifically in the cannabis industry since 2014. So Mark, who runs NECANN, they're industry peers. And we have relationships with the team at NECANN and all the other shows in the industry because we're all lifting the boat up, right?
Right.
So number one, I want to experience my first NECANN and support another event producer who's doing great things for the industry, and we're friends and we can rise up together. Secondly, I've got clients, right? I have clients that have been past exhibitors or sponsors or just onboarded them, and they'll be with us in New York or in Las Vegas. So getting to meet them, if I haven't met them face to face, just that FaceTime and building that relationship, because it's all about relationships. I think we're in the hospitality industry, and you guys make me feel like you're in the hospitality industry too. Like, this is not a one and done trade show. Let me sell you some real estate. This is about how can I tell the world about your business? And the better I get to know you, the more I know about your objectives, your business strategies, the better I can promote your company. So having those conversations and then explore, right? Who's the next company I need to know? How can I help them? So finding those new opportunities for new relationships as well. And then, I mean, come on, we're going to have some fun, right? I mean, I'm flying in.
Details.
I used to live in Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
I'm flying into Boston on St. Patrick's Day.
Coast to coast.
That's too fun. So
well, Wendy, we will be there that Thursday night, so feel free to reach out to us.
Oh,
We absolutely will.
I'll have my St. Patrick's Day sweatshirt on, so let's do it.
Let's go.
Chris, what questions do you have, if any?
You know, I mean, Wendy, you really answered a lot of great questions, because I think that what you were just talking about was really key, because it really is. I mean, that's what comes up a lot, right? You know, you're going up there, you're making an investment. So whether you're there as an attendee and you're making an investment from the side of, I'm going to walk the floor, I want to meet people, you know, and what's the best plan and strategy to go in there. And then also from the other side, like if you're also making the investment and having a booth at these shows, a lot of the same strategy works, you know, like you should really, and that's why you shouldn't just go by yourself either. Like if you have a booth, you should have at least two people. So somebody's always at the booth and maybe somebody else is walking and meeting other people, and then you switch it. Because, you know, there's a lot going on and you can't meet everybody, but you do your best. So you go in with a really, you know, just keep it simple, keep the strategy simple, but, you know, execute on it. And I know you'll agree with this one. Follow up. You got to follow up. Got to follow up.
Are you reading my mind? I mean,
I'm like,
right? Like the energy. Two things come up to that. Like your follow up, you have that set ready to go, and all you have to do is execute when you return based on who you had conversations with and how you want to move things forward. But it made me also think about another really unique differentiator about MJ Unpacked. There's an app for that, is what I was thinking. So we have our online directory that we put into QR codes, and all of our exhibitors and all of our sponsors have a QR code attached to their directory listing, which has their business cards, that meeting scheduler we talked about, and then their Marcom, brochures, press releases, price lists, etc. And if they're not in their booth, we have Untethered. Check us out. Reimagined, untethered, tech-enabled exhibit experiences where you don't even stand in a booth. The booth does all the brand showcase does all the work, and then you scan the QR code and I can start messaging you. I can put time on the calendar to meet you. So that's part of it too, right? Like working. I love what NECANN's doing with the NFT, right? They're adding in an NFT thing. Like think forward. right? And move the industry forward, move your attendees, your sponsors, exhibitors forward with you. And so we're not doing NFTs, but we're doing QR codes, whatever it is. Like, what's the latest and greatest thing that will make it easier for the exhibitor and the sponsor to get a higher level of return on their objectives and keep attendees engaged and wanting to come back for more, right? I mean, you guys know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. You know, that's what you're trying to do. It's really you know, when you think about it, at the end of the day, it's really a giant room that's put together so we can all get together and meet. You know, so whether you're an exhibitor or you're there, you know, walking the floor and, you know, being an attendee, it's just a big place where we can all get together and meet with one another. And every time, you know, this is my second time going to NECANN Boston, and I just think about how many new people I met the last time who now I have, you know, relationships with and talk, and, you know, and going back again now, I'm even more excited because I'm going to meet some more new people and then also connect with people I haven't seen since the last time I went. So it's very exciting. And I think that's also another, when you talked about the fun aspect of, you know, conferences and trade shows like this, that it's like, it's sort of a reunion, you know, sometimes like family reunion type of feel, and that camaraderie is really great.
And Chris, you hit the nail on the head too. And this goes back to what both y'all were saying, is that, hey, go in with an agenda.
Yeah.
You know, figure out who you want to meet with ahead of time. Chris, you and I always tell people during our seminar, email the exhibitors who you want to talk to, you know, a few days before the event. Hey, what day is best for you? Saturday or Sunday, from what time to what time? So I will come to your booth and we can meet at that time.
Absolutely.
And you know, Wendy hit the nail on the head too about, you know, meeting new people. And if you have a tough time meeting new people or knowing how to break that ice, well, that's something we're teaching you at our seminar, How to Raise Your Social Capital, Raise Capital, on Saturday at 9 a.m. I bring that up because half of raising money is developing your networking skills. Yes. And there is a big difference between networking versus prospecting. You know, are you going out for that sale versus are you really going out to network and build relationships? And that's something where a lot of people forget at these conferences. And I'm gonna pick on MJ Unpacked for a second. You know, with MJ Unpacked only allowing pretty much C-level executives, managers or hires, or accredited investors. And if you don't know what an accredited investor is, email myself. The information is on the bottom. That Chris will pop up on the screen as it rolls through. And I'll be more than happy to tell you if you're an accredited investor, because a lot more people don't realize how much they are an accredited investor. It would actually qualify. And that's something where I know in Vegas for MJ Unpacked, a lot of people are like, oh my God, there's a lot of key decision makers here. There's not people kicking the tires. Like every conversation I'm having is quality. And here comes a real kicker, Chris, because you know me, and I don't like time vampires. I hate time vampires.
Time vampires.
Time out of you. Wendy and I had a big joke about this in New York a couple months ago. But it's like, hey, I met you. We talked a little shop. Okay, we spoke for about 5 to 8 minutes. Great. I'll contact you by this day and we'll set up another time to talk. I don't want to give you an hour. And Chris knew last year at NECANN Boston, and maybe I'm talking poorly of myself here, but I'm like, Chris, listen, we're gonna be a bunch of people, and I want to talk to you, but I'm limited you to 15 minutes a person. Like, we got too many people to meet. He's like, no, that'll be fine. By the fourth person, I'm like, Chris, you're at minute 20. Let's go. He's like, it's been 20 minutes already. And I'm like, yeah, like we gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah, we were holding each other accountable at that. So because that's what happened. It's like before you know it, you're like, oh my gosh, like just time goes by fast. But it's true. Fast. You don't want to hold people hostage.
No, and it comes back to what we've all said, right? Strategy. What is your strategy going in? Have one, execute it, be flexible. You know, stuff's gonna happen, but if you have that strategy, you'll be more happy with the results on the outside of it.
100%.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see how much technology is making that easier for all of us. And also too, for all the listeners, like, yeah, I kind of made a joke. If you see Wendy walk around, say hello, like this woman's coming in from the West Coast for NECANN Boston.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, she's making that effort, that coast to coast trip. She's not an exhibitor. She doesn't have a booth. She's not speaking. She's just literally coming to attendance and support. And that says a lot about her character, who she is as a person, and what she does, but also says a lot about their company, MJ Unpacked, as well, too. Absolutely. So with that being said, I have to ask the most favorite question of them all. It's pretty much the last question. what is one of your favorite cannabis conference stories?
Oh gosh, you
And
would
I would try to keep it clean.
Oh, my favorite.
One of your favorites. One.
Yeah, one. There are so many. But I will say
Two
this.
if you need to.
No, I will go with this.
Okay.
Okay.
MJ Unpacked last year, we partner with the Last Prisoner Project. They're one of our strategic partners, and we want to elevate, what the work that they're doing. So we were able to put together a benefit party at the House of Blues inside the Mandalay Bay, which I've been to House of Blues all over the country, but not for my own event, right? So that's crazy fun.
That's kind of badass.
Right? And we were able to bring the Blues Brothers back together again. So we had Jim Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and the Sacred Hearts Band. And we raised over $70,000 for LPP via that benefit event. And everybody had a fantastic time. And I managed with one of our sponsors who paid to get up on stage to sing Soul Man with the band.
Yep, I remember that. I was there. Yep.
Okay. So somehow, Chris, I managed to be pushed up onto the stage for that act of Soul Man, and amazing. I had no idea
awesome.
Be there. So just, you never know where you're going to be, how it's going to happen, what you're going to do, but literally dancing on stage at the House of Blues with the Blues Brothers during MJ Unpacked. Woo! Mind blown.
That's a good one. That's hard to top. That's a good one.
I know. So fun. Are you guys going to share yours, or is that just a me question?
That was just a you question. That was reserved that one for guests.
Yeah, that was just a you question. And by the way, you're the first person to actually ask us that. Back to us. So
well, I'll see you in NECANN, guys.
Yeah, we'll yes, you will. Yes,
be creating some new moments.
Yeah,
exactly. And everyone, check out mjunpack.com. They actually have an event coming up May 18th to May 20th, correct?
Yeah.
New York City, especially to listeners of NECANN Boston. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away. If you are a consumer packaged good company, make sure you reach out to Wendy. It could be a good fit. If you are an accredited investor, you want to meet with other accredited investors, great event to attend as well too. I attend the event in Vegas, had a blast. I literally am probably ready for this, Wendy. I'm going to announce this live. Even though I have a place in New Jersey, it looks like I'm probably going to get a hotel for MJ Unpacked in New York. I know that's new for me. That's a big, big step for me.
That is big.
So I'm just letting you know.
I'm
going to be doing that. So
that's a big one.
Hotel block on the website, mjunpack.com. Check it out if you want to book your room there, because you got a hotel block, and you should stay in the city.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fun.
Makes life so much easier. Well, guess that just about wraps it up for us today. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on today and for hanging out and sharing all your insights. Really appreciate your time. And I hope everybody out there today really enjoyed this interview, because David and I have a great time making these, and we love, when we appreciate all the guests that come on here and share their information with us. So thank you again, Wendy, for coming.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you both. Chris, pleasure to meet you here. Can't wait to see you in person and give you a big old hug. Dr. David, always.
We'll talk soon.
Until the next time.
Absolutely.
The HMC.
Absolutely. And want to thank all of you out there. Thank you all so much for watching these next level interviews. Please make sure you like, follow, share, subscribe, do all the things. Make sure you share these interviews out, because it not only helps us grow, but it also helps our guests as well. We appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you use the links in the video description or the show notes to visit and support. And of course, if you are coming to NECANN Boston, you definitely want to get your workshop tickets for how to raise your social capital to raise capital by heading over to NECANNnextlevel.com. And that is happening on March 19th at 9 a.m. with myself and Dr. David. And if you come to NECANN, you'll see all of us, including Wendy.
Be sure to say hi.
Be sure to say hello. So see everyone soon. Thank you so much. Rock it.